from, and how excited are you about tonight's session? It's going to be powerful tonight. I'm personally excited about it, and I'm expectant about what is going to happen here tonight. I'm not seeing your comment yet. Please do well to drop your comments, drop your emojis. Just let me know. Okay, I'm saying I'm excited. Omolade Gbemisola from Lagos State. Have you been me welcome and thank you for joining. I was seeing the comments from Adelo Kiki. Pardon me if I ruined your name. Mary from Lagos, Nigeria. Good to have you, Mary. Welcome and thank you for joining. I see Rufus Fayem from Ibadan. Looks like we have people from several parts of the world, which is quite interesting. Thank you for having us. Yes, we're happy to host you. Thank you and welcome. Thank you for joining. Olayinka Oroyemi Comfort from Lagos. Super excited. Thank you. I'm excited that you are excited. All right, I'm excited because I can't wait to put what I learned into practice. Very beautiful. I like that perspective of yours. And I see Akinboro Wumi Grace from Ibadan or your state. Okay, looks like we have a lot of Ibadan people in the house tonight. We're so excited to have you. Thank you so much for joining. I can feel the excitement in the room already. Good. And welcome. So before we dive in, I have a few housekeeping rules to ensure we have an unforgettable and seamless learning experience together. So drum rolls, housekeeping rules. Please ensure to, first of all, very importantly, follow us on all social media handles. If you are not following us, I don't even know what you are doing. All right, Getwork Nigeria community is more than just it's beyond just attending meetings. It's a space for you to grow and to access opportunities that transform you. So you should be following our social media, all our social media accounts, all our social media handles. So if you're not doing that, you can always go to your Instagram, go to your LinkedIn and follow us at Getwork Nigeria on all handles, because the more followers we have, the more traction we can get, and that gives us more visibility and permits us to reach much more people for impact. So please do well to follow, like, share, comment, and do well to always engage on all our social media platforms. Like I said earlier, if you're not following yet, go and do it now. And when you're done, just type, I am done. All right. Now, the next housekeeping rule is mic etiquette. Please keep your mics muted unless you're asked to speak. We want to ensure that we have a smooth and distraction-free session for everyone. And obviously, engage smartly. If you have a question, drop in the comments and wait patiently for a feedback from us, and we will get to you. And lastly, we do not want any form of noise interference at all. Let's be mindful of background noise so everyone can focus and get the best value from today's session. Please kindly manage your mics properly. All right. So let's all commit to making this session highly impactful, engaging, and distraction-free. Are we ready? Are we ready? Our speaker is already in the room. I know I have learned, I think we've hosted Madam Rita Babalola once, and trust me when I say it was fire overload. So I am expectant tonight, knowing it's going to be another dose of value. But before we get into the part where we welcome her on stage, ladies and gentlemen, let's take a moment to celebrate two phenomenal women in our midst tonight. You see, these are not just names about to call. They are powerhouses. They are trailblazers. They are visionaries and impact makers who have dedicated themselves to the growth of this community. You see, they are the emissaries of excellence. They are the dispensers of value. They are our patrons and our founder, and they are the very heartbeat of this movement. We have Madam Bumi Omeke and Madam Yetunde Ajibade. Please make some noise in the comment section. Have you met these exceptional women? These are women of grace and greatness, purpose and power, wisdom and wealth of knowledge. Yes, they are. They don't just believe in this community, but they pour into it, they nurture it, and uplift every single one of us with their commitment and intentionality. And guess what? We are honored to have their distinguished presence in the room tonight. So leaders in the house, you know what to do. Make some noise, drop some fire emojis, show some love, and let's welcome them like a royalty that They are. All right, I want to see your emojis, your fire emojis. Join me to, okay, I love what I'm seeing. All right, keep it coming in. Let's celebrate them. They are really amazing women and they are very inspiring. They have put all of their resources, all of their time, even as far as bringing in people from their network so that we can be trained and we can be well cultivated. That's so inspiring. Keep the fire emojis coming in. Thank you, Ma'am Bumiomeke. We're so excited to have you in the room. Thank you so much. And in absentia, Ma'am Yetunde Ajibade, we love you. Thank you so much. All right. Okay. I see that you are still excited and the emojis are still coming in. Very beautiful. And while you're at it, I want you to also take a moment to celebrate yourselves too. You are here and you're learning and you're growing and you're your way to greatness. So drop an emoji, clap for yourselves and type, I am next in line for impact. It sounded like a church line, right? You know how we say, I'm next in line for a miracle. Yeah, so let's replicate that and say, I am next in line for impact. I celebrate everyone in the room tonight. Thank you so much for joining up. All right, so this is the part we have been waiting for. Drum rolls, ladies and gentlemen. But before we get into that session, what comes to mind when people hear your name? That's the question I want to ask you this evening. What comes to mind when people hear your name? Is it excellence? Is it value? Or is it nothing at all? Because whether you realize it or not, you are a brand. And in today's world, your personal brand is either building doors of opportunity for you or silently closing them. And that's why today's session is going to be an absolute game changer. We're going to learn how to be the personal brand in the workspace. All right, are you ready to dive into the world of personal branding? Are you ready? Okay, so I know you must be wondering, so who is taking us on that ride? Who is taking us on that journey? Don't worry, I'm going to show you and I'm going to let you know who that person is while I am going to be reading a bio in a couple of seconds. But before I do that, I just want to say, please get ready, get your books, get your pen. It's going to be full of value, trust me. So we are so honored to have the distinguished presence of Madam Rita Babalola in the room. Before I bring her on stage, I'm going to read her bio. This bio is long. It's long and it is inspiring. All right, so Ma'am Rita Babalola holds a BSc in Chemical Sciences and an MBA in Human Resources Management from Lagos State University. She is a member of both the Nigeria Institute of Training and Development, NITAD, and CIPM, which is Chartered Institute of Personnel Management. She also holds a certificate of accomplishment from Coursera on small business enterprise. She has been a Shirley Blair mentor, foundation set up by the wife of former British Prime Minister to help female entrepreneurs launch, manage, and grow their businesses within the first 6 years of starting the organization. For the past 5 years, she has undergone training both locally and also internationally with Chicago Booth University. Her banking experience spans the defunct Fountain Trust Bank, which we all know as Heritage Bank, and GT Bank, where she was involved in relationship management and credit packaging for clients. Part of her responsibilities included identifying new market development, majorly SMEs, and managed investment portfolios of clients, most especially corporate customers that have trade financing needs. Our role also involved assessing the financial and operational performance of organizations to determine their credit worthiness and make representations to management for approval. Rita is playing a pivotal role in steering the career trajectories of numerous individuals, contributing to the successful realization of their professional aspirations. Her impact extends beyond individual career journeys, as she has been instrumental in supporting organizations in identifying and acquiring top-tier talent. Completing a wealth of experience, Rita holds a certificate of participation in life coaching from the esteemed Coaching Academy UK. As a testament of her dedication to professional excellence, she co-founded Beacon Gate, a distinguished management and HR consulting firm, where she continues to lead with a commitment to fostering organizational growth and individual development. Beacon Gate, the consulting firm, was recently recognized and given an award for the Outstanding Corporate Brand of the Year 2024 in HR practice by the iconic brand Africa, while the visionary Mrs. Rita Babalola also received an award as one of the top 10 exceptional professionals in human resource management and practice for the year 2024. Isn't that amazing? I was having goosebumps reading this. I hope it was the same for you. We are so honored. We are so fortunate, and we are so excited to have the distinguished presence of Ma'am Rita Babalola. From the bio, you can tell that she's value-filled, and I'm super sure that she's ready to pour into us tonight. So, ladies and gentlemen, if your ends are not too busy and if your emojis have not disappeared from your screens, please do well to join me as I welcome Rita Babalola on stage. Please celebrate, make some noise, drop the emojis, drop the fire emojis. All right, I like the emojis. I like the energy that I'm seeing. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ma. We're so glad to have you. Welcome, welcome.
Hello.
And I would also like
Good evening.
to invite on stage. Thank you so much, Ma. You look so beautiful.
Thank you
We are
so much,
distracted by your
Oyinlade. This is
beauty
your
already.
infectious smile, charisma, courage on today's facilitation seems quite inspiring for me. I've never seen a more contagious laughter. I mean, since the beginning of today, this is the second session I'm having today. So forgive me if my voice is a bit down. I've also been engaging in interview all day today. So I'm so happy to be in the midst of professionals like we can see here. And Bumi, I want to appreciate you. Thank you for bringing me on board. Thank you so much. So over to
Thank you
you,
so much, Ma.
Lola. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
And I
So,
assure
Ma,
you,
before you proceed,
viewers and audience here, it's going to be a remarkable and a memorable day for you. And I hope you'll be able to pick one or two things that will be quite, let me say, inspiring for you. When I say inspiring, that means something to motivate you, something that can take as a take away from this session, and it will be something that you will use on your everyday career journey. Thank you.
All right, all right. Thank you so much, Ma. We're so excited to have you. I would like to also welcome on stage Ma'am Bumi Omeke, because I learned it's going to be a question and answer session, so that she can ask questions and you can respond while we all learn. So also, if you have questions, please do well to drop them in the comments. We'll read them out and we'll have our distinguished guest tonight answer your questions. Thank you so much, Ma'am Bumi. You're welcome, Ma.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, and thank you for that beautiful introduction, Oyinlola, as usual. I didn't expect less. And thank you, Mrs. Babalola, for honoring our invitation. It's a great pleasure to actually have you, more than anything else. And we need to just dive into I think we spent up to like 15 minutes already, and so we are committed to, not wasting our time. We are also committed to respecting the time of others. So we just dive into the session right away. For those that are just joining, you all know the topic for today about branding yourself for developing your personal brand for the Nigerian workplace, for the workplace, global workplace, I would say. And so I'll be asking Mrs. Babalola some few questions. And if you have
Sorry for interjecting you. For purpose of this event for today, can we just restrict it to Rita? Rita Babalola, Mrs. Babalola seems a stretchful. Just Rita is just four words. RITA. Just Rita, it's okay.
Okay.
Let's save more time with all these Babalola, Mrs. The syllables they are longer. Yeah, let's just move with Rita. Thank you.
We are only sensitive to the cultural context, so
No,
forgive us.
it's okay. It's okay, please.
We'll
This is
call
a
it the way you
workspace.
want
Yeah.
to address.
Okay, then just call me Rita. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. So I have with us Rita today, and she will be sharing with us very useful tips on personal branding. And just to guide the conversation, I would be asking her some questions, and then if you have further questions about the topic, you can drop it in the chat box. We would answer you right after the session, right? And if we see in the middle of the session, if it's relevant, we would also read it out and answer it in the course of the discussion. Thank you. And so just as an opening question, Mrs. Babalola, can you share a bit about your career journey and how personal branding has, played? Sorry, I'm used to that. So can you share, some some few tips about your career journey, how personal branding has, shaped your journey and contributed to your role in success in the workplace.
Okay, thank you. Like I said, my name is Rita. I started my career far back in, yeah, what will I say, 2000? That's like almost 25 years, 2 decades, yeah. So I remember when I started out, it was banking, even though I tried as much as possible not to be in the banking space, but unfortunately, banking decided to find one young, a naive, shy girl called Rita. And I entered the banking industry, and unfortunately, I was posted to relationship management, what you call the marketing brand of the bank, where you need to look for deposit, you need to look for assets. When I say asset, that means you look for deposit and then you look for asset. You have to be able to book loans. So it was weaved together. And I wrote something about my mom sometime. I said like 2 weeks ago on her first year anniversary when I said marketing was something I detested. It wasn't me because I'm a naturally shy person. I didn't start out as much as coming out to be a success, but I had a childhood where success was already something that we got to know right from elementary school. Success is passing all your exams. Success is reading not only for exams. So it was seen like excellence was what our parents had like instilled from day one. So it followed me all through the working career. So while I was in the banking industry, being put in a department where I could not naturally, it wasn't my natural proclivity in the sense that it wasn't my nature to be chatty. It wasn't my nature to be someone you put in a room. If we're 10, I'm sure if 9 people were talking, you will see that there will be one person that will not talk. It will be me. So putting me in the marketing department was something that wasn't what I would call my strength or my forte. I found myself that I was a novice. I wasn't so happy with it. But then I had my mom that was always like, what about other people that were doing it? Do they have two heads? Did their mother give back to them differently? So for the first step she took for me was introducing me to our workspace where she took me around. And that kind of defined the movement where my image concerning banking changed, because rather than going for performance meeting for failures, like they give you target, you're not meeting up expectation. That defining moment where I was taken around 1,000, what do you call it, Federal Ministry of Work and Housing and Obale, and that's the secretariat, I was able to meet my target. Then, despite that, even meeting them, it was more of people were still calling me, despite the fact that I had moved on to another, it was as if my name was synonymous with account opening in, what do you call it now? In Federal Secretariat, yes. So that success gave me like I was happy. Like I look forward to going to work on a Monday when you want to do presentation and you're going to show them like in your presentation chart, we're going to present, oh, I was given a target of 100 per month, you're given this 150,
Yeah.
and I'm
Yeah.
always consistently crossing over 75,
Wow.
80, 85. So that for me was the defining, it was success for me meant that getting things done, not giving excuses, like I was it was something that I needed to. So that was one story for me that defined my personal brand in the bank. So it was no longer where I was afraid, even though despite the fact that number two, I would say another defining moment for me as a personal brand that I started becoming conscious of, like I said, I was a nervous person, shy person. So when I second year in banking, I was made to lead someone, a copper and another person that came into the organization from another bank. And the thing about banking is most of the banks are rated according to certain metrics where the top tier, maybe when you are defining certain key parameters. So she came from the bank that we probably call a low tier bank. And so I had two people to lead them. And one thing about this particular lady was she was quite bubbling, enthusiastic about everything. She enters a room, she will be the life and image of, you would think she knows those people before. I started like, how does she do this? How can she come into a room and become the life and soul of that room? I started asking her, but I knew she had I spent most of her childhood outside Nigeria, so that could also explain the way she could splurge into conversation. You know, when you don't have control, you know, just like you said, there is a barrier culturally when you use
Yeah.
a Mrs. You know, those
Mrs.
kind of things are
Mr.
defined in
Yeah.
Yoruba. Yeah, when you are not using
Yeah.
a auntie,
Respect.
you know, yeah,
Yes.
she just
Yes.
goes in, says it, and then people still look up to her. So, but then because we started working, I started also mirroring her the way she does things. We go out marketing and like marketing is a peer. So I picked this one from her. So that my mom, in terms of the success of making it easy for me to go out marketing, and then this particular person, my friend Ndidi. So I picked it up from her. And in terms of being enthusiastic, in terms of being warm, in terms of being charming to people, she was very good at it. So sometimes when you get into the workplace, you don't know everything. There are people around you that you can learn from. Success is
Yeah.
not that you know everything. So for me,
Yeah.
she was a subordinate, but I
Yeah.
learned that art of conversation, getting into a room and meeting people, talking so that you don't keep quiet. So those are the relatable stories that I could relate that shaped my
Yeah.
early form of career.
Yeah.
Thank
I
you.
think I'm just going to I'm just going to jump in a bit. It seems you said a lot. In fact, you've answered a lot of questions I just wanted to ask at the start about personal branding. And one thing I'm taking from here is that personal branding, like when people talk about personal branding, they're always talking about it tied to some job titles. Like I'm branding myself as a social media content creator. I'm branding myself as a graphic designer. I'm branding myself as a, like I said, as an accounts manager. I'm branding myself as a lawyer, as a doctor. I'm not mentioning those big professions because, I mean, there are people who have studied to be something else in school and, you know, they've studied to be engineers in school and they come out and they do these other things that are quite popular these days with content creation and all that. So, and then we have multi-potentialites among us, the young graduates, who think that, okay, if I'm doing so many things at the same time, or I'm doing so many, I'm good in so many areas, it's affecting my personal branding. And have had such kind of question. How do I brand myself? You know, that is them trying to put like use a job
A
title to
box
brand
into their
themselves.
title.
So I'm wondering, what does personal branding really mean for young professionals? What do you think personal branding should mean across all job titles? What is that thing that defines personal branding, irrespective of the profession or the occupation or what you're good at or what you're skilled at, irrespective of the fact that you're a multi-skilled person? How do we define personal branding?
Okay, so I think now we're more in terms of this workplace trend, we're more concerned about title. I think for everyone, title has been like, what can I get quickly from this career? And the next thing you see somebody titling themselves, oh, I'm a specialist in this, I'm a coach in this. Typically, everybody is a coach now, even without the certification. So far, you can learn to teach. Everybody is a coach. You have
Coach.
2 years experience, you are just suddenly you've called yourself a manager of people, you know. So but it goes beyond that truly. And we need to start decongesting or deconstructing our minds. Personal branding really is all about the totality of a person in terms of your knowledge, in terms of your skills, in terms of your value, and what you represent or what your personality represents in the workplace. So take out the workplace itself is, you know, like when I was teaching early startup, then I used to tell them something when you talk about branding in business. And I tell them that in the olden days, like maybe I used to follow my mom to the market. And when we get to, let me call this local market, Mushin, then, you know, there will be maybe a Mama Basira that sells gari or meat. She will tell you, okay, go to this Mama or Papa something that sells this. We already define that woman by what she sells. That's personal branding itself. Even if I go somewhere and I get lost and I get there, oh, Mama Rita don't, you know, like let me use your back, you know, when you get to that
Yes.
market, they define, even if you lost your way, if you just
Yes.
mention Mama Rita or Mama Temi or something, they will tell
Yes.
you, oh, is it the woman that sells gari or is it the woman that sells, let me say, vegetables? That woman is
Yeah.
already being identified
Fied.
with the produce of what she sells.
Sales.
So also is every individual in the workplace, if you are defining it. So, but then it doesn't mean that because you are in accounting today, that is what you're going to do throughout the end of your career. So it goes beyond that. I have defined that so that we could see what personal branding is, the totality.
Yes.
It showcases your value, your core values as well.
Just to
what makes this person, what makes this person tick? You're going to say something?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Just to cut into what you said, you know, I've had different examples around me. Even myself, I'm an example of, you know, not maintaining a particular profession throughout my career life. Even right now, I'm still on that journey. I still don't know if I will still find myself in a dominant law environment, because I started out as a lawyer and then I've moved to HR. Even in Canada, I'm a certified professional I'm a chartered professional in HR in Canada. I still have the opportunity to have my licensing in law in Canada. I don't know. But I know there's one thing that stands out when people are going to describe me, or people that I've worked for. They're going to say, okay, that girl, she's a very resourceful person. If you need a solution to any issue, you can get it from her. And I'm talking of different workspaces, law firms. I've worked at a law firm. I've worked at educational institution. I've even worked in a preschool. In a preschool, I've worked in, you know, I've worked in different industries, you know, and this is how I'm identified. If you need a solution to a particular problem, go to Bumi. So the question is, how are you identified in whatever space that you find yourself? And this is what we are seeing when it comes to personal branding. I also have another illustration. I have an elder sister who shared the same, you know, kind of career journey with you, Rita. She's a vet doctor. She's actually a vet doctor, but right now she's a banker, and she's a chartered accountant and a CFA, a certified financial. Yeah, she's moved from vet medicine, even from the second year she graduated. And she was one of the best graduating students in UI, University of Ibadan, in vet medicine. And you know, this personal brand followed through in everything that she did because she's an excellent person. She's academically excellent. And in every space that you find her, they will say, if you need knowledge, that's the Dolapo. You know, when she got
you see, that was what I was trying to say, that when I started, I said something about your core values.
Yes.
Personal branding is also about core values. It's about what defines you. So people just generally think that has to be with just only the job itself or title. It has to do with your core values. If I call Rita Babalola in any space I am in, what would they say about Rita Babalola?
Exactly.
Would they say she's diligent? Would they say she's lazy? Would they say she's laid back? Would they say she's an excellent person? Would they say she's a go-to kind of person? Would they say she's a problem solver? Would they say she's creative? Would they say she's time conscious? Would they say she's a manager of resources? Would they say she prioritizes tasks? So those are things in terms of core value. We're talking about integrity. We're talking about getting the jobs done timely. The discipline of execution. Even if you have the ideas and there's no discipline of execution and timing, it is still not good enough. So we have to also look at your personality, your grooming. So those things come like the totality. There are some that are seen, that they are tangible, and there are some that are intangible. So, but we tend to concentrate mostly on the part that has to do with work alone. But your core values, even when people are not looking. If I want to talk about something that involves a certain knowledge domain, who do I go to? So that personal branding has to be associated with particular set skills.
Yes.
It comes with its uniqueness. It comes with its being valuable. And once you do it, when you're talking about personal brand, you're talking about consistency. It is not diluted. You cannot say poor excellence, because that means you have changed the name of excellence. You cannot say average excellence. Excellence is just what we define it as.
Yes.
You understand it now? So it has to be consistent. It has to be clear. Your personal brand has to be clear. It has to be authentic to your person, to your uniqueness. I can't be Bumi. Bumi can't be Rita. There'll be moments where I can learn from you. I can even do it better than you. But then I have to learn to typify these in my own personal space. typify it in my field so that it resonates with my signature strengths. What are my signature strengths? What are the things that come natural to me? I don't need to force it. So that means it becomes authentic. But then it has also come with one thing in terms of clarity, the C's. Consistency and clarity, yes. It has to be known that this is what Olayinka stands for. Oyinlola on Saturday is like this. Godwin Smart is the people that people say he is. It is not when it is time to award or reward because of certain projects. Even if there is no reward, a Godwin Smart will put his best in it. And Olayinka Oroye would say, those are things that you have to know that in terms of personal branding, it has to be clear. You also have to understand your value proposition as a professional getting into the workspace. Having a personal mission statement. What do I want to be known for in this organization? If I'm spending 4 years in this organization, when I leave, what will people say about me?
Yeah. Okay, so now it looks like we have a very good understanding of what personal branding is. I'm going to have some very practical and more straightforward questions. Like, we're going to dive into the real detail, the real meat. Now, what would you list? I know that you've mentioned that personal branding is something that sometimes a lot of times should align with our professional skills, but generally in the workplace, being someone who has worked in human resources management, what do you see for young professionals? What do you consider as the most important, personal brand, that a young professional should project? What do you consider as those important things, important values that a young professional should project in the workplace to be successful in today's workplace?
Okay, so because we work in various places, diverse organization, the first thing I will say, because I won't say this is this, because it has to be unique to the organization as well. It has to align with the corporate objective or the departmental objective that you are in. That's why we always saying a square peg in a square hole, a round peg in a round hole. So the first thing is, number one, as one individual, reflect on your skills. What are you good at? What do you do without stress? Define it, number one. Then number two, look at the values that those things would bring in terms of value addition. So let me say now, we're talking about excellence. In the course of my work, I remember in my earlier career, like I said, I was handling more of deposit, and I had more private banking customers in the sense that those were the sub high networking people. Then the HNI, that's the high networking individuals. Apart from the top, they didn't call them high networking individuals. Those were the second level. My first level were the entrepreneurs, the chief, the owners of businesses, the captain of industry there. So that's number one. And then I remember something that I used to have a lot of deposit because it wasn't truly automated. And sometimes because bank then was pivoting from a merchant bank to commercial bank, we had lots of issues with automation or system. And maybe I would have like in a day, maybe over the weekend, I've done like maybe a 50 or a 60 rollover letters of their investment. By the time I'm resuming on Monday, I'll find another 100 waiting for me. And it was so daunting at that time. And I went out so it used to become an issue between me and the operations people, because sometimes they will feel, oh, Rita, why did you wait till this time to say we should roll over? Why don't you take? And I'm like, sometimes I get in touch with this customer, they'll tell me they want to think about whether they're going to roll over or whether they're going to terminate or whether they're going to liquidate it or take a bit out of the money and use and then reinvest the balance. I cannot push people beyond. And these people are, imagine me first to 2 years of my banking when I'm telling you that I'm a shy person. So even those people, before I could even say some words, they would have stopped the phone or I've cut off the phone. So I just decided then and then that there are better ways of doing this. And just like I said, I was a shy person. I'm just bringing a practical example. And like I said, I was speaking to people that I'll just tell them, oh, my name is Rita Babala. I'm calling from so bank. Oh, Rita, what about your boss? It's like they don't want to speak to me. They want to speak to my boss, that kind of stuff. And before I could get the words out of my mouth, they'll tell her, get this person to call me. Bim, they've cut off the phone. You know what? I found out that, okay, Rita,
Very
you're a
down
shy
to.
person. Before you get the words out, yeah. So before I do that, I will write it out. Let's say it's Bumi I want to speak with. I'm going to write out what I'm going to tell you. I'll write it down on in my jotter. I will follow the conversation through as if I've started talking to you. So before I call you out already, I've played out what the conversation is going to be like. So I started seeing that it was making me more faster in my decision making. Do you understand? Because I was predicting them and it was working for me. So the second one was that I wasn't very good with Excel. You know, like when we finished school, it was the era
Yeah.
of maybe one computer to 100 students. And it was when I got to the workplace that I was able to touch a computer. It was when I got into the workspace, unlike when we were in the
Wow.
university where we saw one
Yeah.
computer for the whole of how many classes. Then another
Yeah.
thing happened. I went out to an organization and it was an insurance company. And they put down on their table this paper, investment rollover paper, things like that. And I saw, wow. And I said, so this is the way these people do things here. Honestly, when I got back to my workplace, I replicated it. I got an award for that. So
Wow.
that's why I said you cannot typically know what will be that thing that people will look out for. For me at that time, it was more of solution, resolving the issues at hand for my own, for my own unit and for me as an individual. So for me, innovation became number one. Number
Yeah.
two, I had to start thinking about what will you call this? Being proactive. Do you understand? Yeah, because
Yeah.
I'm speaking to chief,
Planning
I'm speaking
ahead,
to
thinking
owners of,
ahead.
there was this one that owns one of the restaurants on I won't call his name, Ozuma Badwe, and he's a typical Yoruba chief and whatever. So I would speak Yoruba and English. I would have blended it in my conversation. So when I'm calling him,
Wow.
honestly, so that became like being proactive. So it started
Yeah.
working for me. So that's why I said you cannot say categorically that you must have this. But one of those things
Yes.
that define each and every one of us is reflecting on where you are, your journey presently. Know what it is that you want to choose as your personal brand, your core values. Then one
Yes.
thing that you cannot take out of it are certain skills, and which can also be useful in the workplace. You must be innovative. You must be a problem solver. You must be a good
Yes.
communicator. I was
Exactly.
like inhibited because, like I said, I was a shy person, introverted. So getting words out of me became, I mean, why would you put me in marketing? I was good with figures. Give me a figure in 2025. Ask me in 2026
Yeah.
about those figures. I'm going to give you back those figures. That was what I was
Yeah.
good at. So then you
And
you just have
yeah.
to define it honestly. So
Yeah.
looking at what you have, what I know really that people should always also do, communication. You can't go wrong. The
Yes.
written and the verbal, the written and the
Yes.
verbal one. You
We are
must
coming. We are
be
coming
good
to
at
that,
it.
Miss Rita.
Yes.
We are coming to that, Rita. I don't want us to.
Okay.
I don't want it to spill too much. We
To
are
jump.
coming to that. So I've taken from
Okay.
this.
Okay. So let
From
me
this.
stop at that then.
Yes. Yes. We are taking from this answer 3 important skills, and I also agree with you. I can't but agree. The first thing is innovation in the workplace. In the global workplace now, you have to be very innovative in the way you think. And innovation, of course, brings the problem solving skills. It's not, I always tell graduates, don't come to me. I mean, people I work with, the young people that I work with on my team, don't come to me telling me about problems. Come to me telling me about the problem and the recommended solution. That is what
Yes.
makes you stand out. There's always problem. You are employed as a graduate. You are employed in an employee capacity, even as a business owner. You are there to solve problems. Even if you come out of school and you say, okay, I want to go into business, the business you are going into is to give solutions to a particular problem, whether you like it or not. Whatever it is you are selling, you are solving a problem. So if you are going to succeed in the workplace, you should always have it at the back of your mind that you are being employed to resolve an issue, to fill in a gap that was there. If there was no gap in the first place, you won't be employed. You are there to fill in that gap.
Yes.
So don't always think that it is you are better off or you are being rewarded for identifying a problem. The person who employed you knew there was a problem before he employed you.
That's
What
it.
they're expecting you to do is tell us what the solution is. It's that simple, but I tell you, it's not so simple practically when you see the way we respond in the work environment. Bringing up more problems, digging into what the problems are in that workspace is not enough. But being the problem solver, and that comes from an innovative skills. You have to display an innovative skills. to be able to solve those problems. And then communicating it, which is something I'm coming to. It is not enough to do the work. A lot of people are still behind and they are not being rewarded, or they don't feel appreciated because they've not been able to perfect a way of communicating their value. It is not also what you do, it is how you do it. And I know Rita is going to do a lot of justice on that. I've watched her communicate these values, on platforms, and that is what, drew us. I mean, that's the connection I got, our ability to be able to communicate that value. And I know she's going to do a lot of justice on this. But just before that, I'd like to ask a particular question around, overcoming challenges when it comes to this personal branding. So I know that some of us are on this call, while we were talking, they must have been thinking, oh, I've messed it up. I've messed it all wrong. While, coming up, do I still stand a chance to develop my personal branding? So I will be asking you, Rita, what should a young professional do if they feel they have made a bad impression or mistake early in their job? What do you think they can do? Is it too late?
It's never too late to start any journey, honestly, except you get even those ones at the age of 60, 70, they still try to reinvent themselves. I was watching a video earlier today, and no, sorry, it wasn't a video, it was another video, was on something else. It was a write-up in where I stayed, the estate. Somebody dropped something in the platform and was talking about Afe Babalola at the age of 70. He reinvented himself from a lawyer and then became someone that wanted to have a legacy. The legacy was Afe Babalola University at the age of 70. He's over, I
Imagine.
think he's close to 100 years. So
Yeah.
failure, I won't say,
It's over
I'm not saying
90.
he's a failed lawyer. Yes, I'm just trying to
Wow.
tell us that at 70, somebody's reinventing himself. So also as individuals, I also remember that when I joined one of this organization and the business field, I had to reinvent myself as well. I wasn't when I was in the bank, I wasn't in the HR space. It was when I left the HR space that it was when I left the bank that I found HR. So the thing there is for anyone that wants to or has encountered failure is to have that mental resilience, that mental fortitude to understand the fact that failures does happen, but then what are the lessons that you have learned in the course of that journey? I tell even my daughter, like I tell her sometimes that failure is like a redirection, is a reinvention, is a reflection time for you to reflect. You've known why because if you don't know the lessons and the reason why you encountered that in the first place, then that means that failure is no failure. Failure itself is when you know why you have failed in the first place, so that you will know other ways and things that you need to navigate away from in the course of taking another step. So for anyone that has you've seen people that even in the workplace failed projects, you
Yes.
just have to reinvent yourself.
Yes.
What are things that you need to do differently? What led to that failure in the first place? Were you trying to do it all on your own? Didn't you delegate? Didn't you listen to other people? Because as we grow in our career, we also have to learn to have that listening ability to seek people that are better than us, ability to seek them out, ability to ask for help. Because some of us feel that asking for help means that you don't know anything. Yes, you don't know everything. Nobody knows everything, so don't be shy about it. So
Exactly.
professionals should learn how to reach out for support, belong to support groups,
Groups.
belong to platforms that can teach, where you can also learn to impact. Because the more you also volunteer for this thing, the more you also learn. The more you learn, the more impactful it is within your own mental capability and capacity. There's a difference between capacity, there's a difference between capability. So, but then both are impacted when you also volunteer to do these things. And it also takes your mind away from those failures, because you won't let them become your limiting belief. Oh, I failed because I did this. Yeah. Sometimes in the course of peace, I've seen managers that when they stand in front of management executive, they can't make presentation. And we all laugh about it. Later on, they come and say, oh, how are you able to present? How do you do this? And I take them through it. Because when you open up and ask people for support, you become better. I've seen people that I have also trained or coached that have become better than me. That is life. Because the more
Yes.
you devote more hearts to things, the more you become better at what you're doing. And that becomes living the part of the fundamentals. to the mastery. We all will need to do it. And once you start defining what is of essence or what is of value, what is more important, what are the things that you consider as significant, that's when you begin to appropriate time, you begin to appropriate effort, you begin to appropriate even finance to be able to go after those things.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. So just to add to what you've said, and I always say that sometimes I define failure as the inability to rise again. Most times we see failure as just the falling. The falling is not necessarily the failure, right? It's a trigger, but your inability to rise when you fall is the actual failure. And that happens when you're unable to learn from the mistakes that led to the fall, right? So the thing is, failure is even also part of our success journey. If you don't fail at something, you will not learn how to succeed at it.
Learn how to, yes, you're right.
Just like what you said, yeah. So my take home from the answer is that it's not too late to reinvent yourself. You gave a very inspiring example. I'm really inspired by that example. Afe Babalola is somebody that I'm well connected with in the legal profession, and I can 100% relate with what he's been able to do with his legacy and what his legacy has done so far, even at 70.
Yeah, because the legacy is providing jobs for people in is it Kitty or where is it now? Yeah.
I have a just for an illustration. I have a senior colleague who finished with a first class in my school. He finished with a first class also in the law school, and he proceeded to, I think, Harvard University and also to Canada. He was in Canada here, did his PhD, and Afe Babalala reached out to him. As I speak to you, I think he's deputy provost. He used to be dean of faculty. He's Sunday Olawuyi. He's a professor. He's a SAN. He became a professor and an SAN before the age of 36. And he's working with Afe Babalola, contributing to the development of the nation, And Afe Babalola is able to do that. I think that is legacy. There's nothing that beats that kind of legacy, bringing in that kind of brain to work closely with you and also contribute to the development of the nation. He would have been in Canada, but he's able to make sense because of the legacy that Afe Babalola is building out there in Nigeria. Just for another kind of very good lesson for young professionals, because my target is actually 0 to 3 years young graduates. There are very common mistakes that they make in the workplace, either at the point of entry or while they get the job or while applying for jobs and all that, that relates to their personal branding. And I'm very sure you are very conversant with this, Rita, and I would just like you to highlight some few of them so that it will help them. Yeah.
Okay, so number one mistake that I see most of them making is not knowing how to prioritize time. Number one is not knowing how to prioritize time. Feeling that or thinking that everything will wait or revolves around them. Like being given a task, thinking that you will do it at your own time, thinking you will do it when you think you are ready for it, but forgetting the fact that most of these things have been built in such a way in the corporate environment where your work stops is where another person's own is going to start, or where another person's own is going to start is where your own is going to end. So you have it like that. So I've coined it out. I read a book. I can't remember the name of the book, and I always use it as illustration where I talk about the discipline of ideation, having ideas, having opportunity to impact or do things, then the discipline of timing and the discipline of execution, which I earlier said that. So if we don't know how to make this get connected, we tend to lose our way in the workspace. Then number two, lack of taking ownership of our work. We don't want to be accountable for projects. I was trying to look at my environment, my workspace today, and to do confirmation on someone. And one of the things I picked up is being ability to follow through on tasks to the end. Because you've sent and you moved it to the next person doesn't mean that you've ended your work. You have to be able to follow through. You have to be able to I've given this person I've put my papers to this person. 24 hours you've not back and you are just okay to be comfortable, not being aware that It's for you to also follow through because it's going to impact on your output. Your output is proportional, directly proportional to the time that you're also going to get to receive this back. And then the other one is we don't spend enough in what would I call it, in innovating, learning, personal development. Everybody wants to have free opportunity to go for free training. Nobody wants to spend money. Most of us, let me not say everybody, most of us don't want to spend money on investing in training opportunities. We always want the free training, free webinar.
Sorry, let me even continue, Rita.
Yes.
Even the free training, they take it for granted.
Granted
I've
as
said
well.
it on the group, and I will say it again here. At least for those people who weren't able to read this on the group. And I mean, this thing is also the Getwork Nigeria initiative is also a kind of movement, a way to also influence other people, right? We have series of programs like this mentorship program. We have CV writing workshops where we encourage a graduate to build their resume themselves. You don't need to give it to a CV writer to write. We
Right,
can
and they charge you like we do in my organization. We get paid to write resumes. Yeah.
Exactly. Why should, in my own opinion, Rita, the people who should ask people to write their resume are professionals that are very busy professionals are already there. A young graduate, the least you can do for yourself is to be able to communicate your value in your CV, in your resume. Asking somebody to write your own value or what you have done, your skills, putting it together for you, is also shows that you are not there yet. So I would look
exactly.
at your CV.
Like what
You've written, somebody has written for you. It's like somebody writing an exam for you, and then you use it to apply. It's like somebody writing a dissertation for you. You cannot defend it. You should be able to put your CV together by yourself and be able to prepare for an interview based on the CV you have written by yourself. As a young graduate, we know that there's a gap. We know that you're not being taught this in school. We understand that, but that is why we are there. Are you taking advantage? It hurts me. It hurts
it
me.
does. It can be very frustrating for people like you because it does do for me too. Because I had an interview yesterday, and a young man, less than 5 years of experience, had about 4-page resume, and I was like, "Come off it." I said, "This resume 4-page. That when I'm doing executive resume revamping for MDs of organization, I'm just using 2-page, a 2-page resume." So what would a 2-page resume of somebody with almost 20 years, 18 to 20 something, 30 years, if I can do it under 2-page, why would someone with 5 years have 4 papers for me? So I told him, he was like, "Oh, student." I said, "No, just go online, click on something, this, so. I said, "Oh, best resume format in 2024, 2020. I said, "It will give," in fact, the young guy, I told him, "You've done well, but I'm not going to push you forward until you revamp your resume." This morning, he's called me because I woke up late. I saw it. Then I saw that he has sent some messages. I went through the resume he has converted because I told him it shouldn't be more than 2. He's done it, but it wasn't so good enough. So I told him, I said, "You know what? I will want you to, for each of those JDs, that's the job description, can you use bullet format?" He called me 3 hours later, he's done. But I'm saying now for that particular young man, he's learning because, he wants me to push him forward. He's pushing him, but he's investing in himself stylishly because now he knows how to write a better resume than giving it out to someone. I could also have, because I also don't like conflict of interest. I can't say because I'm doing your interview, okay, I have a resume service, writing service within my organization. But when I do interview for candidate, I don't always want them to say, "Okay, well, my office is upstairs. Can you go downstairs to meet the CV writing people?" You understand? Because I mean, it negates my value. I don't want it to be like it's interwoven. So I just tell them, "No, go and do it outside. If I met you under a different condition or whatever it is, yes, I can say, come and write here." But for me, within that scope, I hardly don't always want to encourage it so that it won't be a case of we want to make money. That's why we're seeing something wrong in your resume. So I just used to buttress that what you said now.
Trying to, sorry to cut you. At Getwork, we're not even trying
No, it's okay.
We're just saying, you're a young graduate. This is a gap. It's not being taught in school. You're a young graduate trying to get a job. This is part of our free service as a non-governmental organization. Come and learn. And we don't get this. And guess what? When we get a job referral or a job connection, and then we reach out to young graduates to submit their CV, we see them with terrible CVs. And they expect to get a job. And there's this spirit of entitlement. There's this communication. There's this entitled communication that comes.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I belong to your community, so I
So why
should
don't you
prioritize? And I'm like, the reason why you belong to my community is not for figurehead purposes. It is not even my community. Getwork Nigeria community. I don't own that community. It is a case of everyone helping themselves as a group to get something. So, sorry, I think it's a very important conversation around personal branding, actually, for young graduates. When it comes to resume writing, CV, that's the first personal branding. That's the first thing that talks about you. The way you write your CV, the way you communicate your value, your skills, your experience, your certifications, all of that, the way you put that in your CV and how you do it shows your personal branding as a young graduate. And it's something you should take seriously, like what we've been having, like the conversation we've been having all day. So I believe we've kind of gradually getting to the end of our...
Sorry, let me interject this particular one. You know, we're still talking about the mistakes they make in the work. Another thing is thinking, not being proactive in projecting, in having, because it happens a lot. And I see that it's also one of the lowest common denominator. You know, like when we used to have LCM, DFZ, LCM, lowest common factor
lowest
in
common factor.
yeah. So one of it is free, but people don't realize it that when you are in an organization and there's always a departmental goal or unit goal, you need to be able to function well within the team that you are in. And one of the critical success factor as an employee or as a professional, whether young, whether middle level, whether senior level, is the ability to have an overarching view of what your task is time. So let's assume now that, Bumi, I work with you and you're my boss. And you've given me a task that involves me writing probably a proposal. And because you have said the proposal should be contain 1, 2, 3. Therefore, because you have said it should have this 1, 2, 3, then Rita has been given the opportunity to write the proposal to use 1, 2, 3. Then I come to you, Bumi, I'm done. After all, it's 1, 2, 3 format you gave me. No thinking, no projecting, no having like the helicopter view of what it is. Okay, she said that, but it shouldn't end in that way. Go and give me 2 other ways or 3 other ways of making it like that. I've just of doing it. Make it more, I don't know, make it more impactful to that extent that I can know that, oh, Soji has been able to picture what we need. So that even when a client, you sent it to a client, when the client needs anything, because Soji has proactively thought about it, and is not going to tell me that, oh, Rita, but you told me 1, 2, 3. How will I know that the customer? You to project. I tell my people, you're not a dispatch rider. We said go to Yaba, and Yaba is just go to Yaba. That's it. Use another. Honestly, it's so sad. Just give me go to Yaba. Yaba is a direction. A dispatch rider says go to Yaba, go and drop this package. It goes straight. It's not going to take that package to Okeari or take it to Apapa or take it to Ikoyi.
Guess what? Even the dispatch rider is meant to use their initiative. If you're you're meant to use your initiative, because you could go through paths that are really rough, or you could go through paths where the traffic is really high.
Exactly.
Decide. It's not just going to Yaba. You need to decide. You need to make decisions. So basically, it's just using your initiative, and you need to put
critical
levels.
Thank you. Initiatives as level. Between 1 to 3 years, the level of expectation may be low effort. But when you start getting to 4 to 6 years, it becomes mild effort. Yeah. Then when it comes to like from 7, 8 years, you cannot change it. It is the workspace. There are certain things that comes with career experience. There are certain things that come with maturity in job function. Let's remove age. Age is a thing of the mind. But then when it concerns that the career steps, the task you're given, the repetitiveness of that task, you should be an authority on it. By the time you're 3 years, 4 years on it, you should be the go-to person regarding that knowledge domain. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Rita. I've learned a lot. I don't know about anyone else, But even listening to you, sharing your experience, sharing mine, you reinforced some thoughts. And I really want to appreciate you on a personal note, and also on behalf of the Getwork Nigerian community for coming in and taking out this time to share your wealth of knowledge and also charge us. Because to me, this is a charging session. Is a reminder that it is not just about where you work or your profession or your occupation. Is a reminder that your career journey, it transcends where you work. It's about you. It's about the you that you carry in every space you get into. It's about your totality as an individual. I would say again, if you just have one key piece of advice to give to fresh graduates, I mean the 0 to 3 years experience graduates among us, what would you give? Just one piece of advice before we call it a day.
One piece of advice, it for me would be, should I make it to innovate and be determined, be persistent,
Great.
innovate and persistent.
Yes.
Persistence.
For me
Innovate,
to be
determine, yes. That's it.
Persistent. For me to be resilience, and resilience transcends everything. I would say, in your pursuit for knowledge, in your pursuit for excellence, in your pursuit to innovate, in your pursuit to learn, stay resilient. Don't be, if you want to stand out in this work environment, in this space, in business, in anything that you choose to do in life, it is that resilience for me. And people see it. People who engage you, your clients, your employers, they see it. When you're a resilient individual, even if you don't have all it takes, but you have that attitude of wanting to understand, wanting to know, wanting to be better, wanting to do better, rising above your mistakes. It is sin. It is sin, and it comes from within, right? Your ability to say, okay, this is my CV that is I need to work on. What can I do? Go do the research. They're not spoon feeding you. You're doing it yourself. You're putting in the work. You are resilient. That is what you need to stand out in this workspace. Thank you so much again, Rita.
Thank you for having me.
For having us. Yeah, so I will leave it to Gbemisola to give a closing remark. If you have any question from the audience, I would also leave her to let us know, and then we can call it a day.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Ma. Thank you very much for that insightful section. Like, I have learned a lot, and I'm sure everyone here has learned. So on behalf of Getwork Nigeria, we are saying a very big thank you, Ma, for the knowledge that you have dashed us this night, because you really dashed us a lot of things. And I'm sure those things are things we need. Those are things we need to thrive and succeed in our career and our personal development. Thank you very much, Ma. So without taking much time, I'd like to ask if anybody has 1 or 2 questions to ask regarding personal branding or any career question. Please feel free to use the chat box, or if you want to unmute yourself. We have a few minutes to take questions. Are there any questions? We have a few minutes to do that. If you have, kindly use the chat box, or you would like to unmute yourself.
Also note that we try to use this mentorship. We've actually come to the close of our topic for today, but we also use this mentorship session to take questions, things that might be bothering us in our workspaces, in job application, any clarification or anything you need to clarify. We also use the opportunity to take such questions. So you have the floor if you have a question.
Okay, someone is asking, Ma, that what is the difference between unique selling points and personal branding? A question from Henry.
I think is Miss Rita, is Rita there?
Yes, I am. I'm still here.
Okay. Yeah. Do you want to say something about that?
Okay, so unique selling proposition, people generally just like, when you're saying unique selling proposition, you're picking certain value that you want to hold supreme for yourself. So I would always want to put unique selling proposition for maybe organization that when you're talking about speed, when you're talking about excellent service delivery, when you're talking about quality over inferiority, when you're talking about products or services. Then the other one that has to do with personal brand has to do with individual person. That's why it's called personal branding. It has to do with core values that you that resonates with you, that you typically would cherish, that you usually hold as supreme to your essence or your element? Thank you. I don't know if was I too fast for that?
No. I think that was spot on.
Okay.
That was spot on.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Ma. Okay, Damilola is asking. Damilola, do you want to unmute yourself or you would want to type? Please do that quickly. We have limited time.
Okay, I have 3 more
Yes,
minutes to
good
go.
evening. Good evening.
Okay,
Please, can you hear me?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Ma'am, good evening, Mrs. Rita.
Good evening.
Okay, my question is, take for example somebody that's just like Mrs. Excuse me, just like it was explained earlier of somebody that moved from being a medicine practitioner to something. So I want to ask for somebody that is quite versatile, like in different fields. You have knowledge in different fields, and then your career path, like your work experience, has been in different fields. Take me for example now. Okay, I'm talking about me literally. So me now, I am quite versatile in different fields, and there was a time I worked as a social media manager. There was a time I worked as an administrative assistant. There was a time I worked as a business development manager. There was a time I worked as a personal assistant. So sometimes when I am trying to pitch for jobs, it's just like, how do I even call myself? And then my resume feels like, what have you been doing? Which one exactly are you doing? But then it feels quite, I don't know, should I say overwhelming or confusing when I now want to do like a personal branding. I say, this is who I am, this is what I do. But the problem is that I am knowledgeable in different aspects. How do I go about it? How
Okay,
do
so
I
let me
go
just
about
a quick
niching
one
down
jump
on the
into
career
it.
path?
So let me just jump right into it for you. There's what we call the T-shaped career and the I-shape. The T-shape is you are in just like your career path of what you have said is called the T-shaped profession or career path. Then there's the I-shape. I have just one or two, and my depth is deep. I don't know if you get it. My depth is deep in the sense that if I'm a customer service officer, I'm I-shaped maybe for 5 years, 7 years. I've just been a customer service officer. So I'm I-shaped in terms of my career path. And that means that anything that has to do with customer service, I must be the go-to kind of person. So for the T-shape, you can read it up. For the T-shape professional, that means you are in different field at different time. But the mistake sometimes we make is we forget the depth. So you have to define what is it you want from life itself. What is it you want in terms of your career? What is your signature strength? Signature strength means that it is true to your personality, it is true to your value system, it is true to what you perceive as your career path. So I like when people reach out to me and they want to do training right now, anytime they mention sales marketing, honestly, I'm always like, wow, because that's what I started with. So it resonates more with me than any other thing in terms of my facilitation, in terms of any courses that I want to facilitate. What I'm saying that is, it was the core of my life for how many years? About 14 years of my career. Sales, marketing, just give it to me. I can teach training from beginning without even looking at a book because it was what I did in my earliest part and it resonated. That was me, my defining moment. So for you now, you have to look at where do you want to build your strength? What comes to you naturally in out of all this? And that would typically affect what kind of role you would see yourself. So having a personal mission statement is, like I said earlier, defining what you want to be known for in a particular organization. Maybe 4 or 5 years you are there. If you have different ones, as in within 7 years you have to, then you have to define yourself or decide what best tool will suit my personality, what best tool will add more value to my life or my career path right now. And that is how you begin to define it. I don't know if that defines or I've been able to answer your question.
Yes, ma. Yes, ma. Thank you. That actually answered my question.
Yeah,
Thank you
it's
very
still
much,
It's
Ma.
just like when we say,
Yeah.
be a master of, I mean, I can't remember that. Don't do too many things so that you don't end up being a master of none. So you just have to shape and reshape yourself and then pick one or two things. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Ma.
I'm
I don't
going
know
to
if you
leave
have
you
time
so
for.
that you can take all the other questions. I'm in the
Okay.
WhatsApp group with you guys. If you have any question, drop it there, then I can also answer later. I need to leave so that the platform can get on with the question and answer. Please, I'm taking permission for that because I have other things that I need to jump
I
into
understand.
right now.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
But I'm
very
on the
much, ma'am.
platform, so if you still need to drop the question there, I'll take it later.
Sure. Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you very much, ma'am. We are grateful. All right. Yeah. Back to everyone. We want to say thank you so much for joining. And please, we understand that you are all on our WhatsApp group. And if you are not there, you can check our Instagram page. You get the link to our WhatsApp community. Please, guys, we need you all to always engage on every of our posts. You engaging would give us more visibility. Please, it is a collective effort that we all need to do. Don't just see messages and ignore them. Please, we are begging that you kindly engage. And if you are here to follow us at Getwork Nigeria, on all our social media platforms, you get us there at Getwork Nigeria. Please do well to follow us. Do well to follow us. Please, I don't know if you still have time to take questions. We have few questions that need to be answered.
Yes, we can take. We have like we can take the next 15 minutes on questions.
Okay, so someone is asking that at the early stage of one's career, I mean the first 1 to 3 years, should one chase passion or profit? That's one. Let me read the other two. The other one is saying, what advice will you
I
give
think
to?
I should take the questions one by one. So let's take the first one. So the person said at the early stage of his career, should you pursue passion or
profit?
Money? Yeah,
passion or profit?
Or profits. Okay. One thing I would say is that at the end of the day is your personal assessment of the consequences or the effects of pursuing one thing above another. Like what Mrs. Rita mentioned. She said prioritizing. She said something about prioritizing, which was something I was going to emphasize further. In life, we are actually also a product of what we prioritize eventually. And if you did economics in school, I guess most people do, there's something we call opportunity cost. There's always a cost of forgoing something and going after something else. There's always a cost. So if you decide to go after passion, there's the cost of that. You won't make money, but there's also the reward from that. If you pursue money, you will make money, you will have good life, but there's also the cost of sacrificing your passion. I'm making it so simple. And so I'm also making it so easy for you to decide. It's not something anybody can actually decide for you. It's a decision that you have to consider and weigh the opportunity cost. There have been instances in my life where I had to forego. In fact, in my first experience as a graduate, I had to forego money and pursue passion. I know you get a lot of that answers. And considering the economic situation and all that, is a very tough answer. It's very tough to tell people, advise people to go after passion and leave money. They will tell you how are they going to survive. The truth is, while you were in school, how did you survive? And it's still an opportunity cost, because if you go after money and you sacrifice the learning pathway, which comes with passion, the learning that comes with passion, the learning that comes with commitment to a particular cause, the learning that comes with it, if you forego that and you go after money, the money might be useless to you way down the line. I'm talking from experience. My sacrifices in the past, I was in a position where I was an administrator, I was a lecturer, I was a company secretary. I was doing multiple roles on that job. And guess what? That was the least paid job I've ever taken in my life. But I was the most committed on that job, and I had the most multiple roles on that job. I kid you not. I was everything. I was human resource administrator. I was company administrator. I was company secretary. I was almost janitor at some point. Yeah, I cleaned my workspace. You know, even though I had about 6 staff I was supervising at the time, and I was just about 7 years post call as a lawyer, you know. So what am I trying to say? Most of the experiences, the opportunity to pursue learning in the field of HR which eventually landed me in Canada, was from that space. And like I said, that was my least paid role. I tell you, I left an higher paid role after my maternity leave for that role. That was the least paid role I've ever taken in my life up to this point. But guess what? I'm talking about monetary payments. But in terms of life reward, what it has done for me and my career journey, you can't measure it with money. And that's what happens with passion. That's what happens with learning. That's what happens with development. You can't really put money, because what it fetches you is like permanent. It's like a life of reward, right? Like a rewarding life, a rewarding career. I can't say it enough. I'm talking from experience. I'm not talking from book knowledge, right? I'm telling you, things I tell you, things I do are from experience, right? So, like I said, the question is still back to you. Is opportunity cost? What would you like to forgo given the circumstances you are in? There are sometimes, yeah, you need to make money to make ends meet. Some of us are not all from the same platform or from the same background, you know, the comfortable background, I would say, not necessarily silver spoon. We still have to fend for ourselves, but you just need to balance it. You can actually pursue both. You can put yourself in a situation where you can pursue both passion and money. It's beautiful if it happens to you that way, that passion and money can flow together. But where it is impossible for you to survive, I would say survival first. But where it is possible for you to forego the extra perks, the extra comforts, and pursue passion, I would say pursue that passion. It's going to feed you for life. Pursue it. Does that answer your question?
Okay, yeah, I think the person is not here.
Yes, ma. Sorry, I was trying to unmute myself. Yes, ma. Thank you so much, ma.
All right. Thank you very much, ma'am. So the next question is, what advice will you give to a fresh graduate who is still finding his or her feet, talk more about branding themselves? And our second question is, how does a person handle their experiences in the workspace, especially if it's their first time in such an environment?
Sorry, these questions are kind of vague. They are kind of very, how will I put it? They're kind of very broad, but I will try to answer it in the best way I can. So the first question that is talking about finding yourself. I think finding yourself has to do with you don't know what to do yet. You probably don't know what you're good at. You've not been able to experiment. You've not been able to know. I believe I'm defining that is what you mean by finding yourself. So it's very important. Self-awareness, understanding who you are and what you're good at, what you love to do is very important. But again, as a young graduate, sometimes you don't find yourself until you make yourself open to opportunities. And that is why we always encourage undergraduates to start doing it back in school. Where I am right now, where I reside, the country I reside, I see it as a very good opportunity for people, young people. People start working from the age of 16 and they are supported by the government, right? They are supported by the government in that they take them through work preparedness program, which is free. And when they go through that work preparedness program at 14, they can even start working at 14. And that really helps. We don't have to go through this with young graduates if we have that. I really admire that. So that is why I encourage young graduates. But if it's holiday job, if it's internship, you don't have to have a school internship to intern during holidays. Go to that place that is connected to that's connected to what you do or what you've studied as a graduate, and offer to volunteer. Volunteers as much as possible. And another thing is it's not just volunteering. Volunteer like you're working 9 to 5. Test yourself, test the waters. Don't volunteer and make it look as if they are not paying me now. I'm not taking it seriously. You are not doing yourself a favor, because the volunteering is not to help the organization, it's to help you. You're helping yourself by volunteering. Show the same level of commitment. I always say that, even to people who volunteer with Getwork Nigeria. Show the same level of commitment that you would show on a 9-to-5 job, and you will see yourself excel. In fact, that is the first way you communicate your brand. That is the first way. When you're volunteering and you're so committed, you're communicating your brand. You have been given a wide platform to excel, to communicate your brand, and to communicate what you are capable of doing. So what I would say is, for you who is trying to find your feet, find a place to volunteer, no matter how small, no matter how, find yourself in a volunteering space. We cannot overemphasize that. Put yourself out there, commit yourself to learning. Put yourself in community where you can learn, not community where you are showing off. Community where you can indeed learn and practicalize what you have learned. That is how to find yourself. That is the process of finding yourself and building a brand for yourself as soon as you launch out in the workplace. Talking about how do you handle your experiences at work, I always tell people, success is all about 99.9%. We just leave that 0.01% to something else, just 99.9% is about your attitude. A lot of times when real seasoned recruiters and interviewers, they're asking questions, they are interviewing you, they are looking out to your cultural fit, how you fit into the organization, how you fit in terms of your attitude, not just your technical skill. Technical skill is very important. In fact, you wouldn't have your foot in the door if you've not gone through school. They know that you've gone through school, and that is why you're being called, that is why you are being invited to join the organization, or that is why you're being called to the interview. When you're now in an organization, the best thing you want to do for yourself is to show those ethics, those important work ethics that Rita has shared in the course of this conversation. She spoke about innovation, if you remember. She spoke about problem solving, and she spoke about communication. You need to work on those three things. They are very important in the workplace. Don't bring problems to your boss. Think about solution. When you get into this workplace, think about solution and think about how you communicate it. It's not enough to get into the workplace and you feel like, oh, you have the body, you have the knowledge here, you're the one that understands all the problem and you're the one that can fix it, Mr. Fix It. No. You also want to show your team working skills, your ability to carry people along when you do things, your ability to be able to see to the beginning of a task and to the end of it. She has discussed those values. If you've been putting down your notes, you will see those values. She has discussed them. Those are things that you really need to show forward when you are employed or when you are new to a workplace. You want to understand the culture of that environment. You want to understand what is important to them. You shouldn't even be there if your culture, your values don't align with the value of the organization. So I'm saying all this based on the understanding that you're already in an organization that aligns with your personal values. So I will stop there, and I believe that I've been able to answer your question a little bit and a little bit more as you join the group and listen to more things that we have to say in our future mentorship sessions.
All right. Thank you very much, Ma. Thank you very much, everyone. Please don't forget that you should follow us on all social media platforms at Getwork Nigeria. And also, please go to the group chats, WhatsApp community. Go and drop what you have learned, what stood out for you in this session. And if you have other questions you need to ask, drop them on the group as they will be attended to. So thank you very much for joining, and see you next month again. We do have this session every last Saturday of each month. We have our mentorship session. So we are done with the one for March. See you in April. If you're on the community group, we review CV whenever you feel like, oh, okay, you're ready to get your CV reviewed. Reach out to me. I am Omolade Bemisola on the group. I will schedule you. I'll book a section with you. So thank you very much, guys. Good night. Have a wonderful night rest. Bye.
Guys, unmute and say bye and have a beautiful
Bye.
night. Bye.
Bye. Thank you so
Bye-bye.
much.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Thank you,
Bye.
everyone.
Good night.
Bye. Yeah.
Good night.